You know, welcome sa Football Life. Ako si Coach Aris
At ako
and
naman
kasama ko si Coach Mike.
Coach Mike.
Pang-anim na natin ito na kamustahan sa mga coaches, players. Kahit naka-lockdown po tayo, kahit na pandemic, mas maigi na rin na ginagawa natin itong ulitan para tuloy-tuloy ang komunikasyon, tuloy-tuloy ang edukasyon. Naks, edukasyon ha?
You know.
Sa mga football, sa football community natin. Okay? Kahit na puro problema ngayon, good vibes dapat tayo. Kaya ginagawa namin ni Coach Mike itong kwentong football tsaka kwentong
buhay.
Yun. So, naka-live na ba tayo?
Yes, naka-live na tayo.
Teka, i-share ko sa players ko tsaka coaches ko.
Share lang po natin.
Ang bisita natin ngayon.
Ang bisita po natin ngayon ay originally guys.
Puro problema ngayon.
Ako po ipapakilala po natin. I will introduce our episode 6 Football Life Kwentong Buhay. Coach Maor Rosen, all the way from Spain. But he was born in Uruguay and he moved to Spain to live. And he has a dual passport. I think so, if I'm not mistaken. Coach Maor Rosen is a UEFA Pro Coach license. Okay. He has also CONMEBOL Pro Coach license. He is also a sports superior technician in football. Expert in detection, identification, and development of talents. Expert in football scouting and tactical analysis. Former U19 former head coach of U19 national team of the Philippines, Union FC and Kaya FC. So let's welcome Coach Maor Rosen.
Grabe may towel ka dyan. Wala akong tissue. Baka may... Sabihin mo, senyas ka kung may dugo dito
Hello, Coach!
Hi, Mike.
Hello, Coach Maor.
Hi.
Hello, Coach Maor.
Hi, Aris. How are you?
Hello. Fine, thank you. How are you?
How are you,
okay.
Coach?
I don't
Coach,
complain.
It takes us a couple of minutes before we are able to think of the right words to say to you because we were excited to welcome you in our show, Football Life.
I hope after our conversation you will be excited also.
Actually, Coach, Football Life is me and Coach Aris talk about this. It's because of the situation we're having right now. It's just merely like a getting to know of the coaches around Philippines. And then last time, if you have watched the video also, we have one of the players from San Carlos who already moved to United States of America but was identified by LaSalle in their scholarship program. So that's Shandon Vergara. So now he is in the US having his scholarship also. So we had him last Saturday, and he woke up early for this show for us to share for the Philippine kids who are aspiring also to have the opportunity like what he had, given a scholarship and given the chance to play abroad. Okay, and showcase his talent. So here with me is Coach Aris, also one of the standout from the North area.
Uh-huh.
He also has the scholarship with me.
Where in the north?
Coach Aris.
In Cordillera.
Cordillera. Ah, okay.
Yeah. I saw you during the SEA Games, but you were very busy. I was part of the A license group.
Ah, okay.
We're having our course.
Taking notes. Taking notes.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, Coach Mike, let's start. You have your first question.
Yeah, by the way, before we start, I received
Yes.
your questions 30 minutes before, okay, because I was in the gym.
Yes.
And I said, wow, they want to talk, they want me to talk for hours. And I said, okay, I will summarize, you know, because you asked so many, the questions are very vast, and I will try to focus on your questions, okay?
Yes, Coach.
Yes, no problem. It's just...
Coach, before we proceed to that questions, we just have to play this kind of small videos just for some of our sponsors.
Ah, okay.
Thank you, Coach.
Bye-bye.
Just stay with us, Coach. Coach, how are you, Coach Maor?
Shoot.
Coach, our
Yes.
first question is, we just want to know,
Coach Mike, are you there?
Yes,
Hey.
yes.
So,
Coach Maor, we just want to know, Coach, like, what is your situation
Proceed.
there right now? What is your situation right now, Coach, in where you're staying? Like, considering there is a pandemic.
In the south, but we had 3 very hard months from March to June. We were confined at home, and we couldn't go outside. But now, you know, we are in summertime. We are going to the beach. We are enjoying to see our people. But the situation is not, it's start to not to be so good. It's getting worse, and every day we have more than 1,000 infected people and 20, 30 people dead. But the situation now it's a bit complicated, because in September the schools have to start, and parents don't want to send the kids because the things are not so fixed. And anyway, we are okay. My family is in Uruguay. You know, Uruguay is one of the few countries that the pandemic is absolutely under control. That's why my family is better than me. You know? But here in Spain, okay, this is what we have. All of us are waiting, like you. All of us are waiting for the vaccines, and we hope that the vaccines will come soon. You know, this is the hope we have now.
Yeah, true, Coach. It's really this time of the virus we're in, we have no choice.
Exactly.
So, Coach, you're not doing any like online sessions, like
Coach Maor.
Wait, we have a stereo here. Okay,
yeah.
I listen to you, Mike.
Coach, you're also like if you're staying in your place, like you are also having like the webinar or hostings like seminars. What you do, like what I see in your Facebook.
Yes, listen, when the government informed us that in March 13, that from March 15, it's alarm state, I started to review some things I wanted to do in the past. For example, some courses I wanted to attend with the English, the Premier League. There is an association of coaches of the Premier League, and it was a course that I wanted to attend it, and I do that. I did that. I did another courses, you know, related to football, like culture of the excellence, other things. And in April, I started to give some webinars here in Spain and in South America, especially in South America, in Uruguay, Argentina, Panama, Central America. I gave to your people 2 or 3 sessions also about once I talk about how to analyze a game. The second one was about what is the present and the future of the the Pinoy coaches according to my approach, and you know. But I am busy. Last week I gave a conference to Mexico, to Colombia. It means, and now with you, it means July, August here in Spain is holidays, and even we are in holidays, we start to do things because we have to prepare the things for the future. Because we don't know what will happen in 2 or 3 more weeks, you know. Because the things, you know, we thought that things are better, but they are getting worse now, and we have to be ready for any scenario. You know?
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, Coach,
Mhm.
Coach Maor, Coach
Yes.
Aris here.
Yeah.
So before we proceed, before
Mhm.
we proceed with all your work, being an instructor, being a professional coach, I think it's good that our viewers here in the Philippines will get to know you,
Mhm.
first. Maybe we can start from the very start when you started learning how to play football. So just a short sharing or a story when
Mhm.
you were a child, if you can still remember. So who introduced football? How did you start? And then eventually, how did you become a well-known coach? Can you just share a story,
Yeah,
coach?
with pleasure. First of all, we never forget our roots. We never. It's forbidden to forget our roots. I started to play football very early, like any kid in South America, especially in Uruguay. You know, Uruguay is a very small country, only 3 million inhabitants, and the main sport there is football, of course, and we have a vast, a large, and history in football, World Cups, Olympic medals, and you know, and many good players that you know now in the last years. But we produce players constantly. But I started to play when I was 5 years old, 6 years old. I started to play leagues with 6 years old because the structure there in Uruguay is like with you are in that time 8 years old. It was the first group, the first category, you know. But I was 6 years old, and the coaches wanted me to play. I always played with players older than me because they said that I was good. But you know, for me, I really I enjoy because I was very short, and I dribbled between the legs of the other players, and I enjoy a lot. But I always play since I was 6 years old. I started to play leagues. When we are talking about leagues, we are talking about leagues, games home away, 8 months playing football. But we are products of the street, you know. We were playing in the street 3 4 hours a day. After that, we went to practice with in our clubs. And Saturday the league games with the referees official, no festivals, okay, official. And after that, I continued playing. Most of my career was in Club Nacional de Fútbol. Nacional is one of the strongest and best clubs in Uruguay. We have Nacional and Peñarol. And I play youth. I played in the under-19 national team of Uruguay for 1 year. And when I was 21 years old, when I was playing in the second team of Nacional, someone broke my knee. I had to pass surgery, but you know the surgeries in that time were with a knife, no arthroscopy, with knife. And after the doctor said, Maor, I'm so sorry. You are a very good player, okay, but professionally, after this surgery, it will be very hard. And I started to play. I started to play in the third league in Uruguay. After that, I started my university career, and with 24 years old, I started to coach. I took my first license when I was 24 years.
Coach, so since you have discussed already about that coaching, because that will be our next question. So, you coach, how did you start coaching, and then how did you realize that you have a gift for to be a coach?
I don't know if I have a gift. I can tell you that it was a natural process, you know, because in Uruguay we have three things: football, politics, a good meat. This is the three things we have. And you know, I didn't want to be politician. I ate meat. Every day we ate red meat, and I wanted to continue in football. I said, okay, I will start with the coaching. At the same time, I continue playing, but not professional. And I started with kids. I had a football school, and you know, and I worked with other coaches. And slowly, I start to introduce myself in this world. And after that, you know where you are now, but tomorrow you cannot know where will you be. And I started to train to be coach of some teams, youth teams, senior teams, and I started to go around the fourth continents, more or less. But it was a natural process. It means I did my first course, the national license in Uruguay. I enjoy, and we had very good teachers, instructors with experience, you know, with many titles and championships, and they were very famous there. And for me, it was a very nice experience. I always listen this certificate. You see, this is the first certificate I received many years ago. I was 34 years old. It means I have 30 years coaching, more or less.
So you started coaching by the age of 24?
Yes.
So
I received my license and I started.
Coach, can you share to us, like, I know you have seen the style of coaching in the Philippines, no? I mean, the culture that we are here, and then the approach of coaching. I mean, is there a difference, like, on how you manage the players in Uruguay and how you manage the players here in the Philippines?
You know, it's a very good question. And please, if you feel that you can go outside your protocol about the questions you wrote, you can ask. Feel free, because it's a bar talking, okay?
Yes, Coach.
Bar with B, not with V. Okay. And listen, when I arrived to the Philippines first time in 2007, I understood many things because what you have now in the Philippines football, you had nothing in 2007. No fields, no, it was terrible. I say, what is? But I understood that your reality, it's more like the reality of the South American countries, not the European countries. That's why all the people that they talk to me there in the Philippines, I know that Uruguay from the Philippines is very far, but I think you can make good use. You could take advantage of what happened in Uruguay, and you can learn from our reality in Uruguay and to bring some things to the Philippines. Why? Because kids are playing not on synthetical turf. Okay, they play on the stones. You know, no grass. Okay, and the reality is more or less like what happened in the past in the Philippines, because now all the kids are playing in synthetic in artificial turf. You know, it's like okay, no, if no, or I play here on the green, or if not, I don't play. No. Believe me that the best players in the world came from the poorest barangays, not from the richest subdivisions. You know, you can check in the history of the football where Pelé, Maradona, Cruyff, and Beckenbauer, where they are coming from, where, you know. And that's why I can tell you that the reality of the life of the players is more or less what happened in the Philippines, but it's very different what happened in Europe. Very different. That's why when I don't want to talk about the football approach there regarding to players and coaches, you know. But I think you could explore all uh, another countries, not only Europe, because Europe is here, okay, and we have to understand when we are. Even the difference between South America and Europe, the gap is very big. It's very big, okay? And with the Philippines, Europe, the gap is very big. It means we have to learn from other countries that they can give us. When I say us, we are talking about the Philippines. We are giving us more elements that we can introduce in our philosophy. That's why when I am going back to your question. It's in every country you have to talk to the players in a different way because the idiosyncrasy is different. But more or less the needs of the players in South America more or less are the same needs of the players in the Philippines. Okay? When I'm talking about the players in the Philippines, I'm talking about the homegrown players, not the players that they come from Europe, for example. That they know they are okay. They are okay. Okay, but you know, Mike, I went all over the country, the three regions, from Tarlac to South Cotabato. And I know the reality, what happened there. I worked in the Philippines more than 13 years. It means I know the reality, and I know that there are places like Santa Barbara that I went to look for players in Santa Barbara, and I brought players to Manila from Santa Barbara for the national team, for the union, for Kaya, because the players are there. They want to go to Manila because they know that they will earn more money. They will have a better future than to stay in the province. Unfortunately, this is the reality. And in Uruguay or in other countries in South America, more or less, the thoughts of the players are the same.
Wow. So,
Yes.
Coach, thank you. Thank you for that sharing with that question. Now, there's a question here because Coach Maor, I'm also teaching in the Department of Education in the academy. At the same time, I'm also coaching. So my question is, based on your experience, or maybe you can compare it from Uruguay or in Spain, what is the significance? What is the significant role of a teacher, classroom teacher who is coaching in the field? So would you think that is very helpful for Philippine football, or maybe based on your experience, it's better that a coach should just focus into coaching and you let the teacher do the classroom teaching? Because for me and Coach Mike, we're also going around introducing basic football and futsal to the teachers. So can we ask your idea, or what is your opinion on teachers learning how to coach, uh, maybe basic or maybe in the elite program? So can you give your opinion on that?
Yeah, this is a very, very interesting question. I will start from the end. You know, I gave many, many courses in the Philippines for teachers, men and women. Okay. The first course I gave, I was invited by my very good friend, the late former Senator Edgardo Angari. Because he wanted to promote the football in Baler, in Aurora, okay? And most of the teachers didn't know what is football, what football is.
Yeah.
And I had to start from the beginning, But you know, in the Philippines, a coach cannot feed his family or family working only in football. That's why the coach has to have another job. In this case, the first job or the first profession is to be a teacher. I think there are good things that you can transfer, you can translate to the field, but there are other things that you have to give to your potential players. But if, for example, if you cannot demonstrate how to give a pass or how to shoot or how to put your body in relation to the position of the ball, these kind of things, you know, the kids can have the theory of the football, but they have to practice and they need idols and they need models. When the coach cannot demonstrate, especially when we are talking about kids. I mean, many years ago, I worked with kids, but the last 15 years I almost don't work with kids. But I can tell you that when the kid see that the coach has the skill, has the ability to show what they are talking to them, you know, half of the work is won. It means the kids say, okay, the coach knows what he's telling us and he knows how to do. I want to imitate him. You know, because when you are a kid, the coaches are your idols, okay? And that's why, regarding to your question, I think there are positive things that teachers can transfer to the kids on the field. But if you don't have the background about football, if you don't feel the football, and the football is like mathematics or geography or history, and you are teaching your kids, it's absolutely different because football is practice and practice and practice. Okay, you know, I gave a sorry I extend my answer for 1 more minute. But I gave a conference to Mexico, to the coaches of Mexico last week. And I explained them that according to my experience, there are only two moments in football, okay? One moment is in attack, one moment is in defense. But the most important in attack is to score goals. But you have to explain that, okay, I want you to score goal, but you have to explain them how to score goal, okay? Because how to score goal is a very short question, but it's all the football is around this question. The same when you talk about I want to defend, okay? But what is your main objective in defense? Is to regain the possession of the ball. That's why there are concepts that if you are not involved in the world of football, you cannot transfer to your kids. You can teach them the technique, you can give them videos to show, it's okay. But they have to practice. And if they commit mistakes and you don't correct them immediately, you will have a problem. You will have a problem. That's why I'm finishing with my answer. I think there are good things that the teachers can transfer to the football and to the kids on the field, and there are other things that if you never play football, if you are 24 years old and you have to teach football, it's very hard. I explained this to the late Senator Angara. At the beginning, he said, no, no, no. But with the time, he understood what I am talking about. The same with Congressman Cobanco, because football is different. Football is different, you know. It's different. What can we do? Okay? And you have, football is practice. Football is to play in the street, like your boys play basketball in any barangay. Okay? You have to implement that the kids play football in the barangays also. You know, that's why I always talk about Tondo, because Tondo is a model of a club. And if you can introduce to the Philippines the culture of clubs, it will be very good. Especially if the clubs are part of a barangay, representing the barangay. And this is good. This is good. And this is how more or less we call this in Uruguay baby football, the football of the kids, is working. Barangays, cities, regions, and they play local competitions, after that regional, and after that national. Okay, that's why I think the work of the teachers is very important, because remember, when you work with kids, you don't teach them only football. You teach them life. You teach them how to go in the life, okay? And you give them cultural values, social values, educational values, and all these things. Sometimes the coaches, the professional coaches with many licenses, they don't control, and you have a problem there also.
Wow.
Very well said, Coach. Very well said.
Ah,
Very well said.
okay, if you agree, it's not good. I want you.
No, Coach. Based on what you said to us, it was really, mind blowing, because it's really what's really happening. Like what me and Coach Aris is experiencing. That is the struggle that we are having when we are teaching some of the teachers, because they lack the technical side of the game, but the other side of the idea is to spread out the word and let these teachers have the idea on how to teach, because I think it's part of the law or the rules in the Department of Education that the coaches that will be handling teams in the public school should be the teachers. So they have to be required to have a license. Is that true, Coach Aris?
Yes. Even the culture of having a football club, because for a long period of time we are school teams, our tournaments are based on school, the club better way. Yes. Can we ask Coach Maor, who do you idolize when you were young, or maybe right now, if you are following a specific manager? So the question is, who do you admire as a player, or maybe as a coach?
Okay, when I read today the question, I say, okay, this question I will not think about this, because You know, I don't remember if I had idols or not. Because I have many reference, yes, especially in coaching. My reference in coaching are Miljan Miljanic, Luis Van Gaal, Arrigo Sacchi. They are my three references in football, okay? But as footballers, I remember I always liked the footballer Johan Cruyff. More than Maradona, more than Messi, and more than Cristiano, because Johan Cruyff for me was a integral, a complete footballer. Okay, of course, as coach he was bigger, you know. But anyway, Johan Cruyff for me, because if I tell you Uruguayan players, you don't know them, and most of them they already passed away. And but these were my reference. But if you allow me, Coach Mike and Coach Aris, I wanted to say something about the previous question, okay? Because we had many contacts with the Department of Education in my first time there. Even we submitted a project for developing football, sponsored by late Senator Angara and Congressman Cojuangco. Together, they worked together, and I worked with them, and we submitted a project to the Department of Education, and the project was approved. Even the NEDA approved the project, and after that, because in Spain we had a very hard crisis, economical crisis, and the Spanish International Agency for Cooperation, they refused to give the funds. But I know exactly how the DPED work. But I don't want to compare China with the Philippines, because we know that realities are different. But I was in China twice, okay? In China, they are working, they implemented since 10, 12 years old again, ago, they implemented the football in the schools, in the public schools, not in the private, in the public schools. Every day they have 1 hour football. What does it mean 1 hour football? Like they have 1 hour history, 1 hour mathematics, 1 hour language, you know? 1 hour football, because they want to promote football, and the president said, okay, I know that the best footballers come from the poorest barangays. In China, you know, you have the private schools and and he said, I will start with the public schools. I was there because they got the La Liga hired me to develop talents and to select talents. And I saw players 9, 10, 11 years old that, you know, we wanted to put them in our luggage and to bring them to Spain because they were fantastic. Okay, and I'm sure in a country with more than 120 million people there in the Philippines, you are full talents. The only thing you have to go to look for them and to know where to look for them. This is the first. The second thing regarding to the DPED. You know, I work, maybe I go in advance to your question, but you know, I work with the under-19 in the Philippines, and it was very hard to get the players for the national team because some schools didn't allow the players to come. And even one of the schools, Mike, you know it very, very well. And they didn't want to give us the clubs, the players. And one of them, even he's still playing in the PFL, and he played for the national team. And you know, at the beginning they say no, because they receive scholarship and blah 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 blah. And what happened if they will be injured in Myanmar? Okay. At the end, we insist. At the end, they wanted our manager to pay for these players for 1 month training and competition, 15,000 pesos of each one. And when the manager asked me, coach, if you need the players, I will pay, I told him, don't pay. Don't pay, because to be in a national team must be a honor. Okay, not only for the player, for the school also. And if we start with these kind of things, I have to explain to the other players I have there that they came from almost all the regions in the Philippines, that we are paying for other players. How can I explain to my players that they came here for free and we have to pay for another place? Why I wanted to give you this example? Because sometimes there is a discoordination between the football and the Department of Education. And I know the Department of Education is very powerful in the Philippines, you know, and it's very good because I support the educational approaches and the sport, of course. But sometimes, you know, football has to be managed by football people, educational people. But you know, but if you work together, you have to be coordinated, and these kind of things cannot happen. Okay. Now going to your question, because you talked about the idols, yes.
Yes.
Those again, I don't remember I had idols. Maybe Cruyff, okay, and maybe one or two in Uruguay. But I have many references in coach, and these are the things I get.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Coach Maor, because you were sharing about already some of the coaching experience you have with the U19 national team in the Philippines, I just want to ask Coach, maybe you can share to us. And I saw your post with your Facebook in the Philippines that maybe this is one thing that the people wants to hear from you. What is your philosophy in coaching?
Ah, okay. My philosophy depends on the players, of my footballers. For me, the most important are the footballers. You know, we are in an era that now it's the new technologies and analysts, blah, 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 blah. I say, okay, it's all okay, but I work with footballers, not with machines. Okay, and first of all, we have to work with your footballers. All the new technologies and the other things can assist you if you know how to use them. But you know, but the most important, my philosophy is to work with the players. Now, if your players are on the same boat with your philosophy, things will run smoothly. Okay, no problem. The problem is when the philosophy and the way are different. Two alternatives, or to go to say thank you very much, it was nice to work with you, bye bye, or to continue, but at the end, your life as coach in this team will be very short. You know, I can tell you, we are talking about the Philippines. I was in Kaya for 2.5 months, okay? And it was one of my dreams I couldn't fulfill because my idea when I arrived to Kaya was to become Kaya in a bigger club, but more than this, I wanted to build Kaya for 3-4 years, that Kaya could be a referent in Asia. And we could that. We could do that. But after 1 month, I understood that my philosophy is not for Kaya. It's not for Kaya. No, because Kaya is A and Coach Maor is B. It's because, you know, sometimes the philosophies are not on the same boat.
It's not
And I understood that I have to be honest with myself and honest with the people that they trust on me. Okay? And I told them, listen, I'm not for this club. You know, because there are some things that I cannot identify myself with these kind of things. And at the beginning they said, no chance, you stay here, because they wanted me to continue. But at the end, after 2 more weeks, I understood that this is the end of the history. But I can tell you that I left Kaya, and after that 1 year I didn't coach. I didn't have team, because I went to Manila for Kaya and I left all my things in Spain. because I was sure that we can become this dream in reality. But sometimes you bet on this and things are not working. That's why we have to understand that the philosophy sometimes is not going with the club where you are. I didn't build from the roots something, because in Union we built something from the roots because Union didn't exist. The national team the same. We checked more than 600 players all over the country, and I selected 20. But this team was built from the roots, from the roots. But when I arrived to Kaya, the things were there because I think there were. I was, by the way, I was the third alternative because they talked to coaches before, and after that they refused, and I accept. But for me, it was an honor to be in Kaya, and it was a pleasure. And this is the kind of dreams that you say, "Oh, I wanted to do, but I couldn't." Okay, maybe there is another opportunity, maybe no. But anyway, I don't regret about my decision. Even I sacrificed myself for the club, because I appreciate many people they worked with me in this short time. I had to be honest with me and with them. That's why more or less the philosophy is not only if you play with the combinative style or direct style, or you prefer to play with 4 in the back or with 3 in the back, okay? Because this philosophy depends on the players you have, okay? But the rest of the values you have, the values that you receive in your house, not in the school, in your house, okay? There are the values can go with you along the life.
Wow. So, Coach Maor, before we proceed with the next question, you can have your water break, and I just want to greet and mention some of our viewers who are working with DepEd also. So first, shout out to Coach Haris Dinamling from City High. Shout out to Coach Sherwin Fernando, Coach Noel Marquez. He's the one who asked the significance of teachers coaching. Coach Noel. He is based in Valenzuela. So Coach Salvatore Dugaong is working with me in my school, and Coach Ferdinand Toy from Naga City. Actually, he has a question here. So Coach Toy asked, if you were given the chance, the national ASCAL's team, that's the men's team, in 5 to 10 years, what will you do? That's his question. So I don't know if you want to answer that, but the follow-up question,
Yeah.
when you answer that, I want you to share also your observation during the Southeast Asian Games, because we saw you here, and then you were with the group of Coach Mike.
Coach Aris,
Maybe you try to answer his question and then relate it with the Southeast Asian Games observation,
Coach
Coach
Aris,
Maor.
before we go with Coach Maor again, maybe we can also give Coach Maor the chance to do the shout out to all his friends here in the Philippines. Coach Maor.
Okay, yes.
What I didn't understand, again, I didn't hear.
Maybe you can also do the shout out before you answer the questions, because I will also do the shout out for all the people who are watching you right now. Maybe you
Okay.
you can share also.
It's up to you. Today you are my bosses. You decide what to do.
Before you answer my question, you want to greet anyone here in the Philippines?
To what? To what?
Maybe you want to greet Coach.
Friends who are viewing.
It's up to you. I have no
Go
problem.
ahead, Coach. Go ahead, Coach. You can greet your friends in the Philippines.
Okay. Listen, I know many people in the Philippines. I know many people. As I told you, I had I can thanks to the life that I could visit places that I never thought that I will be there. Places when I ate lechon with people that maybe they didn't have to feed their kids, but they wanted to be friendly with me. And and I was from Makati, okay, to the poorest barangays in the country, okay, dangerous barangays also. Even I always talk to my friends in Tondo. When I talk to the manager of NOFA, I want to go to Tondo. He asked me, did you lose something in Tondo? Say, no, I want to go to Tondo because many people are abroad. They talk about Tondo. I want to know what is Tondo. Okay, and Tondo is a different reality. It means I can say that I know more or less all the social stratums of the Filipino society, and that's why I have friends, very good friends from Mindanao, Visayas, Luzon. And to all of them, first of all, I want to tell them to stay safe, okay? To be patient. The vaccines will arrive, but to try to think to be optimist. I know the situation is not easy, but the sun will shine again tomorrow. And be optimistic and stay safe, and all the best for all of them.
Okay, I'll just read some of the people who are watching also on Facebook. Coach Jerry Soriano, Coach Emil Pelicer, all the way from Olongapo, Alvin Pilotos, um, my cousin Anne Grace from Marinduque is watching. So
You know, you know what happened? My best friends, they didn't want to show that they are there because they say, I don't want people that I am a good friend of Coach Maor.
Oh, Coach, you can already proceed with the question of Coach Aris.
Yeah. The first question was about if I see myself in 5, 10 more years, the coach of the Aztec. Yes?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Listen, to be a coach of the coach of the Aztec, of course, it's an honor and really it's a privilege, But I know what it is, and I know how the things are managing there. That's why even someone say or talk to someone regarding to myself, I think that I can go to be the coach. I can be the coach of the Ascals, but what for? If I don't have players, okay? I always say that the national teams must be based on local players, okay? You can bring players from abroad, what you call field foreigners. I don't like this name. I prefer to say feel abroad, but because they are not foreigners. But anyway, you can bring every year players from abroad because you have more than 10 million or 15 million Filipinos abroad. And I'm sure there are many Filipino kids playing football all over the world, and you can every year to bring from here, from there. But what happened? Part of this, most of them, they go back to their countries. Okay, that's why I prefer to be involved in a process to develop players that they can arrive to the high level. Okay, with the national team, but to start to work in the country. Because listen, again, every place I visited in the past, every place I recognize young talents. You have talents there. You have to look for them and to give them the chance to develop themselves. Okay, that's why I think that again, it's a pleasure, it's an honor to be the coach of the Ascals, but I can say that maybe you have to look for the process from the beginning, okay? To start with 15 years old, even before that, okay? And to build a structure that the potential talents can go to the national teams. The under 19 is a crucial, for me, it's the most important national team in all this chain. Because when you are under 19, even under 21, the player decides, oh, I continue or I leave. Because this is the moment that the player thinks, okay, now I am a player. Do I want to be a footballer? It's a different question, you know, and we have to give the players to love the game and to try to aspire to better things. That's why, of course, it could be a pleasure for me, but if this project of the national team comes together with a project, a national project, process is not overnight. This process takes time, and I think with my, I can say with humility that my humble opinion, it's like we are losing time. We are wasting our resources because every year, you bring consultants from abroad, from here, but things don't move forward. If you want to talk about the SEA Games, you know, I want to. For me, the SEA Games, this was the second question. Really?
Yes, coach.
Yes. Yes. Coach.
Okay. He's playing the first division in Holland, for example. Okay, and another player, number 14, a left foot, something, Duke, very nice player. He is going. I think next year he's playing in another continent. The SEA Games were very important for me because I wanted to know exactly where the Filipino football is. Okay, and I can tell you that I was very not disappointed, but I was very sad with the Philippines national team. Not disappointed, sad, because I was sure that with a bit more organization, the national team would play the final against Vietnam. I cannot talk about the women because I saw one game of the girls and the final. Okay, Vietnam won the final also with very good footballers. But you know, Vietnam was a very strong, a very compact, tactically almost perfect, with a coach with a long experience like Park Han-soo. He was the assistant coach of Goose Feeding in the World Cup in 2002 in Japan. Yes. And the same system Goose Feeding applied to the national team of Korea. He applied to the under 19, to the under 21, under 22. It was I talked to him. I told, oh, you are using the same system. I said, coach, I have the players for that. Say, it's okay. It's okay. Anyway, the last game he changed it because he played a 5-3-2 and he take out one of the strikers and he started to play a 5-4-1. The team had variant. The same with Coach Safri of Indonesia. Indonesia very compact, tactically very good, but they have only one player in the middle, the best, and it was not enough. But Myanmar, with the Bulgarian coach, with Popov, tactically, people, they play counterattack. The style, remember, Mike, the style was counterattack. And Cambodia, an Argentinian coach, like the Argentinian likes the football to play tick, 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 tick. Cambodia was for me a surprise because I played many years ago against Cambodia and Myanmar, and it was a team like us, but they progressed a lot. I think the Ascals, no, the under 32 of the Philippines, you have the Schrock, of course, but you have Aguinaldo, you have the Bruy. But the problem, I think I was sitting there in the grandstand, and I saw some things that after that I confirmed these things talking to 3 players of the roster. Because I asked them, listen, I have a question. How did you feel on the field? And they said, Coach, we were a bit confused. This is the first time I talk to people about this. Of course, I will not tell you the names of the players. No? But, and when they told me that, I said, okay, because I didn't want to start to talk about the staff, the technical staff, because it's not my role, and of course I will not talk about the colleagues with players. But when you see that the head coach is sitting in the grandstand, you have the assistant coach or the licensed coach on the field, the physical trainer shouting to the referee all the time, 2 local coaches, assistant coaches there, and the manager of the team, my good friend Dan Palami. All these players giving instructions. And it's very hard to have a unified idea about football when you have many people giving instructions, okay? And I think if they, for example, Vietnam had Park Hang-soo, the main coach, and he has his assistant coach. The assistant coach was all the time standing in the technical area giving instructions. And when Park Hang-soo, he saw something, the assistant coach came to the bench and he went to talk to the players, okay, and come back. It means, you saw coach and assistant coach, finish the history. But, when you see that many people are giving instructions, you generate to the players confusion, and they don't know what to do. Because with the players you had, with Aguinaldo, De Broek, Schrock, okay, and maybe 2 or 3 more players, Galloso was there, but I don't know, maybe he didn't play in his original position, and other players, you see, okay, this team with a bit more organization, I'm sure, I don't know if they could beat Vietnam, because Vietnam was perfect, almost perfect team. But I think they could fight because it's only one game. If you say we play home away, it's different. But you play one game. If you defend well and you have a counterattack or penalty or mistake of the referee, you can win. You don't know. In one game, many things can happen. That's why I was sad. I was sad because I think if the team would finish no 5th or 6th, I don't remember in what position they finished, they could be in the first 4 or at least in the 2nd place or champion. It could be a very push up to the football in the Philippines. Very good push up. And I think we lost a big opportunity, a big chance. Because I don't know if I could see games in the Philippines or another tournament, big tournament. Because I can tell you, by the way, I always congratulate you because the first 2-3 days was terrible, but after that things started to run smoothly, and I felt like I am almost in a World Cup in Argentina when I was there. It means it was almost perfect, all the things, and congratulations. But I was sad because the men's team, and I was sad because I was with the coach of the women team. How is she crying after the press conference? And I was sad with this because I don't like this. But that's football, and this is more or less my summary about the Sea Games that I enjoy a lot. The people in the Philippines were with me. You know, I have no words. I have no words. It was a golden chance for me to be there.
Coach, that was a really great experience being also with you in Rizal, watching those games. We were talking about those moments that we had that chance and opportunity, but we're not able to deliver. But anyways, Coach, there's one question here coming on from one of the viewers. It's from Dave Fiangan. Good day, Coach Maor. May I ask for an advice?
With the next question. So, can you share about your book? I've learned that you publish a book on football. So maybe in a short sentence or the main ideas that you want to share to our Filipino coaches or maybe other foreign coaches who will try to listen and watch our interview.
Okay, wait a minute, please.
You have it there?
Okay, now I am with you. Listen, first of all, the book I wrote, that is from the roots, it was a book I wrote for the Philippines, only for the Philippines, because I always
That's good.
I always have the approach that when I see that many foreigner coaches are going to the Philippines, they are going there, of course, 1, 2, 3 years, and after that they leave and nothing happens. And I say, okay, I'm sure I will. This is my will to be there and to continue contribute with the football in any position, like in other countries I work. But I have to leave something to the Philippines coaches because it's a way to tell you thank you for all the good times I was there. I lived there, and I wrote the book. Okay, this book, tactics from the roots, and through the COC Foundation. And I wrote the book. We edit the book. I was almost 15 hours a day in the printer because they have many problems because they were not used to publish a football book. By the way, it was the first book about tactics published in the Philippines because you had this book. You remember this, the Kasibulan.
Yes.
Yes.
Very nice program that you have to update it, but it's a very nice program. But and you this book was written for the Filipino football, for the Filipino coaches, like as a way to tell you some thank you. But there is a sentence at the end of the book that I wrote, the art of football will never die as long as we keep the roots of it. It means we have to keep the roots of the football. This is related to your question about the teachers, no? The roots of the football are very important, and you have to water in the roots. You have to, if you don't have roots, you have to plant roots, okay? And when you plant roots, you have to water in them, because if not, after 2 days, no more roots, okay? And all the activities you are developing with kids and with youth, maybe they are not coordinated among them. And one have a football school here, the other one the youth league, the other one PFL. They are not coordinated among them, and sometimes there are there are conflicts of interest or conflicts with the calendar, with the schedule, but all these things are roots, but you have to water in them, okay? And I think you are on the way, you are in the way, you are on the way, you are on the good way, but again, I think the most important is to think every one of you, of football people, to think about the collective and not about the individual, okay? To work collectively, not only the coaches, because I always say, you need a coaches association there to defend the rights of the coaches. You need a footballers association to defend the rights of the players. You see what happened now with Global, you know. And if you have legal support about this through footballers association, things are easy, you know. But more or less, the idea of the book was to reflect my thank to the Philippines. And by the way, the book, more than 300 pages, all the pictures in the book are pictures we took in the Philippines. All the pictures, competitions, drills, exercises, social pictures, all the pictures are from the Philippines. It means it's a book for the Filipinos and written with a Filipino spirit. Because I wanted to leave something there after all my work. I hope I will continue working with you, but at least in this first phase, to give you a book, and some people will say, oh, the book is very good. Some people will say, the book is not good. This coach has no idea about football. Okay, it's okay. We have to promote this kind of discussion.
Yes.
Nice one, Coach. Actually, Coach, I would like to ask you something. No? I mean, you've been all over the world, traveling, coaching, doing seminars. Um, can you share to us, Coach, like what are the challenges of working in Southeast Asia and then compared to UEFA?
The challenges of the coach, of the challenges of the football in general.
Of you as a coach, I mean you as.
Okay. Listen, it's a very good question, because you know every I go to a country, to a different country, and people ask me when I go to train a team or I go to give a conference. Every time people ask me, Coach, what do you think about our football? What do you think is the best system for our football? You know, many questions that if you don't know exactly the reality of the country, because football is reflect of the society, okay? And if you don't know the values, the culture, the educational values of the country, very hard to give your approach about the country. That's why my answer can be that listen, before this, I will give you an example. FIFA or AFC, they have programs, okay? They go with the CD to all the countries, with the instructor, they are giving, okay, this is what we have to do. And they distribute this material to all the countries in Asia or in Europe or whatever, wherever. But we have to understand that the reality in the Philippines, for example, is not the same reality of Vietnam or Indonesia, okay, or Myanmar. There are different realities. That's why the models cannot be universal. It means you cannot apply a model of the model of UEFA in Burundi or in Uruguay, because the reality is absolutely different. And the challenges, the first challenge is to know where the characteristics of the place you go. When you know that, you can start to develop your model, okay? if a model or a coaching model, or if you go to give conferences, how can you give the best conference in the world for these kind of people? Because sometimes you cannot talk the same language with them because you are coming from Europe or you are coming from South America, and you go countries that maybe they are 30 kids in a team with one ball. It's very hard. It's very hard. That's why the challenges are many, but all of them must be based on your knowledge about the reality of the country, the reality of the place where you are going to work. Okay, and again, we cannot compare realities. We cannot say, okay, in Spain I am doing that. I go to Romblon, I go to Santa Barbara, I go to Tarlac, and I will implement this there. After 2 days, you start to cry and you go home because you cannot achieve nothing there. You know? You have to adapt yourself to the reality. And some of the players, or players not too much, but coaches that they were in the Philippines, it was very hard for them. They say, okay, my contract is 1 year, 2 years. After that, I go. I cannot stay here because I cannot adapt myself to them. Okay, but sometimes you have to. It's not easy. It's not easy. I can tell you that it's not easy. Even when I am going to the Philippines, sometimes there are things that I say, oh, okay, stop, think, okay, relax, give a smile and continue, okay? Because things are different. The same with you. If you come to Spain, you will see things that you don't agree with, these kind of things. And you say, okay, I will try to not to lose my identity, but to try to adapt myself to the reality of the place where we are. Okay, it's like when you go to people invite you to a dinner in a house, and people in the country are used to take out the shoes. Okay, at the beginning, I see that all the people are taking out the shoes and they leave the shoes behind the door. And the first day I was to a dinner, I say, oh, what is this? The second time, I take out my shoes out, and because you have to adapt it's a very simple example, you know, but you have to adapt yourself to be to have empathy with the people you are working with. Okay, more or less this the challenges depends if the club wants to be champion or the national team want to classify for the next World Cup, and you know these are the professional challenges, but there are challenges that they are not related strictly with football. And these are very, very important because without them, you cannot get your achievement. You know, you have to, as I told you at the beginning, my philosophy is to work with the players. But if I am not with the players and the players are not with me, end of the history.
Actually, the very word that I got from you, Coach Maor, is the you have to adapt. Aside from that, is you have to adjust. You know? But being able to adjust and adapt is an advantage for every coach that's gonna experience those kind of challenges.
Okay, but please don't understand me wrong. You have to adapt what you can adapt. Okay, but because if you want to be, for example, if I go to the Philippines and I want to be like every Filipino coach, first of all, who hired me will say, wait. I wanted someone to give a bit more than we have here, not the same that we have here. Okay, and you have to give answers and to give I cannot say a higher quality, but you have to give something different than what the local coaches give. Okay, that's why they contract foreigner coaches, because always, I don't know, maybe it's because our roots, it's because our formation, because you know the AFC Pro license, okay, and the UEFA Pro license, you cannot compare them because the gap is very big. I know both programs, and the gap is very big, especially in the tactical understanding of the game. Okay, but the AFC programs for the pro license at the beginning was written by an English coach, a very famous English coach. That's why, you know, you have to and you have to adapt yourself to the place where you are, but without losing your identity. Without losing your identity, because your identity is what the people who hire you, they want you to reflect in this group. Okay.
All right. Actually, Coach, you gave us the idea of having that the status of the pro and the pro diploma of the AFC and then the UEFA. Coach, you were talking about one thing regarding for example, the selection of the ASCA's coach, right? Because there's something that the manager is looking, something different from what the local coaches can offer, right? So, in your opinion, Coach, like, is it something that it's more of a challenge that it should be for the local coaches that we will be able to show that someday in the future that one local coach can be able to manage the ASCA's team?
Okay, listen, this is like the history of the egg or the chicken. What is first, Because I'm sure that if it's an utopia, no? If all the players in the roster of the ASCAs, for example, the ASCA, are all homegrown players, I'm sure that you have a coach or coaches in the Philippines that they can manage the team. Okay, for example, Coach Ekal Krautsun. Okay, you remember Coach Ekal Krautsun when the national team beaten I don't remember it now, with Norman Frigidero, with the goal of Norman Frigidero. You remember many years ago. Coach Ekal Krautsun was German, but most of the players were Filipinos, homegrown Filipinos. Okay, but they bought a German coach because they wanted for a specific tournament to be among the best teams there. But when you have a team, a roster, when most of the players are from abroad, and you have players from Germany, player from Spain, playing for a player from Holland, and they are playing, even if they play in the third or fourth division in these countries, there is a gap between what they are used to do in a training session with the homegrown players are doing in a training session. Why? Because the reality and for example, I ask you, Mike, you as a coach, what do you need? You need to practice as a coach. Okay, you have to train a team to compete every week, to compete, to prepare your training sessions during the week because you want to win on Saturday. The same the coach of the other team.
Yes.
But when you don't have enough competition, when you have a league with 5 or 6 teams, okay, and this is not a criticize, it's a reality, okay, and you don't have enough place or enough slots for coaches, for the Filipino coaches, because you have to prepare a league with 12, 14 teams, and you will have 12, 14 coaches with 12, 14 assistant coaches, and you are creating a new generation of coaches with a lot of experience. And during the local tournament, the PFL, okay, the coach of the champion, maybe he will be the best coach, and he's Filipino, and maybe you you can give him the chance to be the coach of the ASCALs, of the under 23, of the under 21. Okay, because you have to understand that I am not talking only about Europe. I'm talking about Asia. Asia, you know, there are very good coaches in Asia, very good coaches, but they are better than the Filipinos. Why? Because they compete every weekend. They prepare their pre-season. They have they play at least 30 games a year. Okay, and after that they have international competition. You know, but if you create a generation of new homegrown players, you can talk the same language with them. But this is not enough. Why? Because as a coach, you have to be updated continuously. And why you don't go, I'm not talking about you particularly, no? But why, in this case, the federation, send 2 or 3 coaches for 1 year abroad? 1 year abroad, 3 coaches, 3, 4 coaches. Send them to be in a club, to be in a country, to see what happens in other countries. No, not because we want them to come back to the Philippines and to do what in Germany they are used to do, because it's impossible. Okay, but if you take these coaches to countries that the reality is more or less like the reality of the Philippines, you will have many other things to do. For example, go to Uruguay, go to Argentina, go to Colombia, okay, go to these countries and see what happened there. You will see, oh, our fields are better. Oh, our coaches are better than this, because more or less you are internationally, of course, there is a gap, but the conditions for the training sessions, for the games, for the competitions are more or less the same, you know. But you have to understand that if the coaches cannot compete because you don't have enough competitions, it's not enough with festivals. It's not enough. Festivals is a good way to promote football, but not to develop football. You develop football through leagues, and you have to implement the leagues. That's why I'm very happy with the idea of the president of the PFF with the league under 15, under 17. That's good. But if the leagues last, I think, 6 months, 8 months, and not 1 month or 2 months, because you cannot develop a group. That's why, more or less, this is my approach about this. If you ask me, okay, coach, what happened? Can I be the coach of the ASCALs? I can tell you right now, no. But I am telling you, Mike, like you represent all the coaches there. Okay, why not? First of all, because the policy of the national teams, you, Coach Aris, and me, we know how is the policy there. Okay, you can share or not, but this is the policy. This is what you have. Okay, and this policy is supported by the federation. And for this policy of looking for players abroad all the time, you need a coach that more or less there is at the same level of professionalism as the players. Okay, this is the difference. And those players are playing competitive football at least 9 or 10 months a year. Okay, this is the big difference. That's why the Filipino coach, the foreigners coach must be related to the players. What kind of players you have?
All right.
Wow.
Aris.
That's
I think the dog is disagree with me.
yes, coach. Very well taken, and thank you for being direct. I think that's really a good observation and honest opinion, because me personally, I was one of the coaches sent to Germany for a month to undergo training. So I've really seen the gap, the difference. So instead of being motivated, I got disappointed because of the facilities and everything. But your point, like maybe sending coaches to countries that is not too far away, let's say Uruguay, you mentioned, that we can really see how. Well, anyway, I know you can share a lot of we are out of time. So Shmaur, other topic.
You that he was one of the best players I saw playing in the Philippines. And
Yes. He is really one of our best midfielder, and similar, I think, when he got injured, ACL, ACL knee injury. Even me, both of my knees got torn ligament. Well, anyway, so I'll be giving the second to the last question, but I'll mention. So Coach Alvin said, "Stay safe." Coach Dave Fiangan also, one of our coach here in Baguio. He has a question, but I think it's answered already. Coach John Bayarong, Coach Emil, both from Olongapo also are still watching. So Coach Maor, we've been asking our guests if you were given one wish, be it in football or maybe in your life, you want to change something. Let's say there's a genie. So he gave you one wish. What will be your wish, Coach?
listen, I will tell you something that some people say you cannot say that, but I can tell you that I will have wishes until the moment that people will take me to the box. Or even when I am going to the box, I will say, "Oh no, I will be alive one more year." But anyway, we cannot live without wishes. All the time we have wishes. Every morning we wake up, we have wishes. I have many wishes, of course, because this is the engine that moves me. But after so many years teaching, coaching, and teaching, and I think I will continue at least 10 more years. And my idea is that I always have new challenges. This pandemic is a challenge for all of us, because we have to do things that we never thought about these kind of things. To talk to you or to see people, coaches in the Philippines, that they are writing in Facebook, they are with pictures, with videos, they are analyzing the last games in the Champions League. I say, wow, that's very good. That's very good, because in 2007 we have nothing. We had nothing. My first time there. But wishes I have many wishes. One of my wishes is to come back to the Philippines and to finish the work we started, because I started many projects. Most of them we finished the project. There were another project that we didn't finish. But I think Philippines it's a very, very good country to develop projects, provided that people are working together. And in football more. I don't know if coaching a team or a national team or giving instructions to coaches, but I think that I still owe many things to the Philippines. But like Philippines, I have another countries, that I work many years and I am in contact with them, and all the time we try to do things. But my wishes is always to continue in this work, to contribute to the countries where football is not the sport number one. In the Philippines, the football is not the sport number one. This is another factor you have to take in consideration. If in the SEA Games we could take the championship, I can tell you that the Philippines, the football in the Philippines now is fighting for the second place in this ranking of the sports in the Philippines. Okay, but you know, these are golden chances that or you take or the chances. Whoa. But again, my wishes are professional wishes, of course, because my profession, my passion, and my work, and wherever I could do that. Right now, I am in Spain, and my particular wishes are ours, are mine. I keep for myself, you know.
Uh,
Anyway, in this group of my best wishes, the Philippines have a very, very big space in this group.
Coach, very well said for that secret wish. Uh, for our last question, Coach Maor, we usually ask this to all of our guests, whether it's a player or is a coach. Football life, I just combined the football is a way of life. Okay, that's really the meaning of it. I just want to ask you, Coach Maor, if for you, Coach Maor, what is football?
For me, listen, if I say football is all, people will say, no, there are another things. Of course, there are another things. You know, we have family. Right now, the most important in life is health. Okay, the health is the most important, and the family and our most beloved people. You know, but football is for some of us is our profession, is our way in the life, and this is something that you can live nice moments, sad moments, but this is part of life. And I agree with the title, with the name of your project, Football Life, because this title reflects what all it means. You know, sometimes with a few words you can say many things. Football life, I think it's a very nice two words that together they are stronger. And I wish you the best in this project. I'm sure you will continue progressing in this project. And even when you will not leave the pandemic time, I encourage you to continue with this project and to be brave and even you will have peaks, okay, or many people are watching a video and a few 3 people are watching my video today. Don't worry, all the things are good, because you are contributing to the football, and I appreciate that.
Gracias, gracias.
Wow. So, Coach Mike.
I don't have the pleasure to know you personally, and maybe I saw you, but you know, when I arrived to the Philippines, one of the things, when I arrived to Spain back from the SEA Games, people started to write, Coach, I saw you, you didn't tell me hello. So I didn't see what you know. And you know, and I hope the next time I will be there, and we will have a coffee, as I told to Coach Mike, Starbucks, a very good long size, and with a piece of brazo de Mercedes, and it's okay.
Yes.
No problem,
Even
Coach.
Coach Mike.
Yes. So, Coach, uh, for everything, for the time, Coach, muchas gracias, Coach.
You're welcome.
Thank you for the time that you shared to us, especially to all the football listeners that we have tonight. I know all all of us are having a hard time right now, and these people listening to you gain a lot of knowledge. And actually, they were asking you, Coach, maybe they were asking maybe where can they buy your book? I forgot to ask.
I know the book was in a national bookstore, and but I don't know because I know that in some branches the book was sold out, and some three people wrote me after I came back from the Philippines, and I gave them a telephone number if they wanted to get the book, the telephone number of the foundation, and they can get books for these people. But you know, I'm not this book. I gave to the foundation. All the rights are of the foundation. My work with the book finished when I launched the book. By the way, you know, when we launched the book, all the football people there were there. I was in shock because President Araneta, Dan Palami, of course, Senator Angara, the son, Sani Angara, all the people, of course, Mr. Cowanco, but all the journalists, many coaches. I was in shock because I expected 10, 15 people, and many people came. And again, if you need a telephone number, how to get the book, I can give you in direct message later. Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Maybe Coach Mike, Coach Maor will send you the number. Then with our page, you can send it to those who ask for the book. So even me, Coach Maor, it's a pleasure meeting you. How I wish we've met before. I was based in Manila around 2002 to 2007. So maybe you are not yet here. I played for Ateneo, but then I came back home here in Baguio City. Maybe you were not able to come up and visit Baguio City, but later on.
I will tell you something before we leave. Late Senator Angara, he had a project of a University of Sports in Baguio City, in Baguio. And I went there because he wanted me to see all the area, okay, where he wanted to build this. And this project, I think he started to work with this project with the Senator Pia Cayetano. And I talked to her the last time I was there, and the project is there. But you know, in these times, the priorities are others. Maybe in the future, at the end, you will have in Baguio a very nice place, a bit cold, but
Yes.
I like the green. I like the green. You know, I like the green. And I was there only by a few hours. And I hope in the future we will have the University of Sports, one of the dreams of my good friend Angara.
Yes, yes. I did work with because Coach Homer. I don't know if you've met Coach Homer Alinsog. He is with Sani, Senator Sani.
No, I don't know.
Oh, maybe the face. Well, anyway, Coach, thank you very much, and keep safe there. Let's keep in touch, and thank you for all the advice. Thank you for all your help for Philippine football, and all the listeners out there will surely be grateful with all the sharings that you've mentioned. So again, Coach Mike, you wanna say something?
Before we end, everyone watching, we are privileged to have again Coach Maor Rosen here, who has shared his expertise the best he can. I've seen him last SEA Games, and he was really a good person, very open and very direct to his approach. So it's a pleasure again for all of us coaches to have you with us and for sharing what you have. So again,
Wait,
see you soon.
before,
Yes, Coach.
wait, before you finish, because the last sentences must be yours, Coach Aris. I want to tell you that it was a pleasure to talk to you and to all the people. I felt very good. Okay. There are many other things, many other topics that we can develop about the football. I don't give advices. It's only my humble opinion. Okay. And I know that some of the things I say, I'm sure they can be implemented because I already did it. Okay, that's why I want to send you my warmest regards, my wishes of health, and stay safe, and a big hug to all the people there in the Philippines. And again, when you need anything, I am here. And mabuhay.
Thank you, Coach.
Yes.
So for everybody now, we're about to end the show. Thank you for being with us. The Football Life is sharing ideas, the knowledge about the game, and then all the coaches and the players who have shared their time. Thank you very much. And I think this opportunity for football will go a long way. So again, thank you and have a good night.
Thank you, Coach Maor. Keep safe.
Much more.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Again, thank you very much for staying with us. This is Coach Mike with Coach Aris. Don't forget to follow our YouTube channel, Coach Mike TV, MYK TV, and Coach Aris TV. And I would like to thank our partner, Decathlon Alabang, for always supporting us. Their products are very affordable. You can look for Nikolai in Alabang. And then we also have Ludis Peanut Butter, a locally made brand. Okay. And we have Mountain Arrow also. If you are going for mountain climbing. And then we also have Mr. Crown for pomade for the hair. And again, thank you very much and salamat po.